Hello and welcome to a quick video session on microbiology MCQ questions. This video is dedicated for IIT JAM preparation, or let's say CSIR NET, CAT B, or if you're preparing for even CUCET, GATE, this would be helpful for you. So stay tuned till the end of this video. In this video, we'll solve 5 questions and it would be 10 minutes. So stay tuned. Now, in this time, especially, offline classes are not at all safe. So if you're looking for online class option, let me introduce you to Unacademy, which has detailed courses for several exams. For example, if you're applying for IIT JAM, then there are dedicated batches for IIT JAM 2022. There are batches for biotech, batches for maths, physics, chemistry. So if you're in any of these branches, you can subscribe to Unacademy and take the advantage of these batches. All you need to do is to download the app from your app store. Then you can use my code AP10 to get a quick access. AP10 would also give you 10% discount, and then you can start learning from the educators, including me. And what about the financial aspect? In Unacademy, we work really hard to keep the financial aspect to a minimal level. Let's say a 12-month subscription only cost 10,000 rupees. That means less than 1,000 rupees per month for all these subjects. That's amazing, right? Okay, let's get back to question answer session. So these questions would give you an overview and tell you that what you should possibly learn from this particular chapters of microbiology. So first question says, which of the following represents a point of difference between archaebacteria and eubacteria? A. Archaebacteria and eubacteria are quite different in size. Generally, archaebacteria is 5 times bigger than eubacteria. B says archaebacteria has no cell wall, while eubacteria has cell wall, and which is thick and composed of murine. Archaebacteria has ether linkages in their membrane phospholipids, while eubacteria has ester linkages in their membrane phospholipids. Then D is both archaebacteria and eubacteria can be stained via it can stain gram positive or negative. So we have to identify what is the correct point of difference. So which of these points shows a correct difference, and the correct answer would be option C. Now about archaebacteria and eubacteria, you would get a detailed idea if you click on the link in the I button. So you would get an overall idea. Now archaebacteria has the speciality that they have ester linkages in their membrane phospholipid instead of the ester linkages. So they had ether linkages, Okay, so archaebacteria is unique in that sense. Okay, so now a general trend in IIT JAM is they give you a question based on the difference between archaebacteria and eubacteria. So identify their point of differences and keep a separate note for yourself. Just to give you a quick clarification, this is from IIT JAM BL 17. It says which of the following is true difference between archaebacteria and eubacteria. So if you read all these options carefully, you see the cell wall contains peptidoglycan in bacteria, but not in archaea, right? So it's murine in case of bacteria and pseudomurine in case of archaebacteria. And all these points are nicely summarized in the video in the I button. There is another year and they have asked the same kind of question. Archaebacteria differ from bacteria in which of these following aspect? The correct answer would be lacking peptidoglycan in the cell wall. Okay, they have pseudomurine, which consists of N-acetyl glucosamine and N-acetyl talosamnuric acid instead of muramic acid. So these kind of point of difference becomes very important when it comes to IIT JAM. So first type of question. So this particular question is not a question, but a type of question that you can possibly face in this exam. Okay, second type of question. All the following are example of RNA virus except hepatitis C virus, influenza, Zika, adeno. Now when it comes to microbiology, there is a trend of asking informative question and you cannot help it. So these kind of question is one example of that. You have to know the answer in order to answer. If you don't know it, don't answer it. That's my advice. So adenovirus is a double-stranded DNA virus. So that is why this doesn't fit in this answer, and that's the correct answer in this case. Okay, another question or another type of question which can be asked from microbiology is from antibiotics. Okay, and how antibiotics possibly work. So they talk about they talk about penicillin, vancomycin, polymyxin, or many other antibiotic type. In this particular example, we have talked about penicillin. Which of the following statements regarding penicillin is not true? Penicillin antibiotics were amongst the first medication to be effective against many bacterial infection caused by streptococci and staphylococci and streptococci. Currently, penicillin is used as a broad-term antibiotic that contain beta-lactam ring in the chemical structure. Penicillin is a competitive inhibitor of aminotransferase which helps in bacterial cell wall formation. Penicillin works by disrupting the cell wall of bacteria, which ultimately leads to osmotic lysis of the bacteria. Now you have to identify which one is not true, which is the false statement, and that would be your answer. So the correct option is option C, because aminotransferase enzyme is not the enzyme which help in these bacterial cell wall formation. So if you look at the process quickly, transpeptidase enzyme form these peptide bridges between D-alanine, D-alanine, and penicillin mimic that structure, D-alanine, D-alanine. So yeah, the confusing name, but that is how penicillin work, like a competitive inhibitor of transpeptidase, not aminotransferase. Aminotransferase are important enzyme in our amino acid metabolism or nitrogen metabolism, so that's different. Okay, next type of question that can be possibly asked from viruses. Here they ask that identify the false statement about plus-strand RNA viruses. The questions are, the answers are they mutate very rapidly. Coronavirus is an example of plus-strand RNA virus. They don't use negative strand RNA as a template for replicating their genetic material. Plus-strand RNA can directly be recognized by the host ribosome. Right? So in this corona time, you might expect some amount of question from viruses, and so you have to identify which answer is false. And the correct answer here would be they don't use negative strand RNA as a template for replicating their genetic material. They do use a negative strand RNA as a template to copy the next strand. And if you want to learn about their replication process, so click on the link in the I button. Okay, let me tell you that these kind of answers, or let's say if they don't ask about generic viral questions, they can ask from HIV, because HIV is one of their favorite. They have asked in IIT JAM BL 17, which of the following statements on the similarity between bacterial lambda viruses and human immunodeficiency viruses is not correct? Correct answer would be both viral genomes encode reverse transcriptase. While HIV genome encodes reverse transcriptase, a lambda genome does not. Anyway, they can ask similar questions which are simple but sometimes could be tricky. When a virus enters a cell but does not replicate immediately, the situation is known as lysogeny, lytic, symbiosis, or amensalism. And you can clearly understand it would be lysogeny. So overall, they ask simple question from microbiology. They don't ask really difficult questions, but these questions might be sometimes tricky. Sometimes there would be linguistic twist in that. And in my opinion, the most important topics I would tell you. But before that, there is a quick explanation of all these questions, that 5 questions that we dealt about right now. And this is the planning for microbiology part. Now, these are the topics that are super important in my opinion, and you can go through all of these topics one by one and create your own creatives, notes, flashcards for these topics. Now, if you want to know more about how to make notes and flashcards, you can click on the video in the I button. But anyway, my detailed notes are present in Unacademy. In order to get a quick access, you can subscribe to Unacademy and get these notes on microbiology, which pretty much summarizes all the necessary points you need to qualify IIT JAM. And there are loads and loads of these creatives and flashcards that you can possibly get. Okay, so if you like this video, give it a quick thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Get in touch with me. Feel free to talk. I would be really happy to. And do let me know in the comments how you like my video. Thank you.